Them not they off in mind. Person where they do evil, no one make person talk. Them say that Mayegun, that man too they talk. He too they talk. Say Mayegun diary, he they hot like pepper. But every day then they take money in bulk. Woman picking, they the street they hawk. Still them talk say, make we no talk. But thank God say, Mayegun don't come. So my people make you laugh. Oh yo yo, Mayegun don't come. Oh yo yo, my people make you shout. Oh yo yo, Mayegun don't come. Oh yo yo. Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Hello there.
Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Mayegun ti dé o, ọ̀rẹ́ ará yìí.
Mayegun diary.
Good morning to you, good afternoon to you, and good evening to you from wherever you are watching from. This is Mayegun Live.
Gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Mayegun já wa sí.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Bó bá ṣe eré, àní Mayegun máa wí.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Ó sì tún ṣe eré, wàá gbọ́ níbẹ̀ o.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Mayegun diary, diary politico.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Godfatherism kò sí lọ́rọ̀ Mayegun.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Ẹ fara
Thank
balẹ̀
you
sẹ́wọ̀n.
so much for joining me from wherever you are watching from. You know what you should do. Share the broadcast. Invite your friends. Invite your not so friendly friends. Just tell them, Mayegun today. Oh.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ra kì í.
Mayegun ti dé.
Lamidi, Apapa is back.
Mayegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ra kì í.
Mayegun ti dé.
Lórí Facebook.
Mayegun ti dé.
Innocent, Obi, my brother, how are you?
YouTube.
Mayegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ra kì í.
Mayegun ti dé.
Bọ́ bàbá gbé wúrẹ́.
Mayegun máa bí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ra kì í.
Mayegun ti dé.
Ijó ìgbádìyẹ.
It is true that the culture minister for Tinubu is also a serving COP member in the NYSC, something that should be illegal.
Nàkówó jẹ.
Mayegun máa bí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ra kì í.
Mayegun ti dé.
Ọlọ́pàá.
Tonight, you also get to know that Tinubu has sent the last emissary to Niger Republic with the same message they've been sending all this while. Reinstate the removed president, or we will invade Niger Republic. The last batch left yesterday.
Mayegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ra kì í.
Mayegun ti dé.
Mayegun ti dé.
Motideo. So good morning to you once again. Good afternoon to you, and good evening to you from wherever you are watching from. If you have taken your time to read the caption of the broadcast, read the description, which is mainly what we are likely going to talk about if the time permits. So if you have done all of that, like the broadcast, shared it, yes, we can start. The last time a lot of you heard about Lamidi Apapa was when he came and said that everyone approved as candidates under Abure will lose their seats if they win any election. For now, a lot of people focused on the intended or probable damage or damages that Lamidi Apapa, as well as Arabambi and the rest of them, A lot of you are focusing on the damages they will do to Peter Obi, not possibly focusing on the damages they are already doing to those who managed against all odds, right, to beat the supposed veterans in the Nigeria Sharid election of 2023. I'm talking about those who won state assembly elections, reps elections, and senatorial elections. They are being removed by the tribunal as you are watching this, one by one. And guess on what premise? They are removing them on the premise of illegal, or I wouldn't call it illegal, wrong nomination. The crisis of who is the chairman or not chairman, which ESCO is the right or not, is already playing out on those who won their elections then are already becoming victims, because you see those who lost, genuinely lost, PDP, APC, they are presenting the crisis in Labour Party as an excuse in the tribunal, and the tribunal is shutting people out and they are kicking them out. A lot of them are waiting for appeal courts to final rule and all of that. So talking about the damages that Lamidi, Apapa, and the rest of them are actually doing, and then focusing on just your presidential election tribunal is going to be like, in my own book, it's like ignoring a part and focusing on one. The damages is being done gradually until a lot of you will wake up and realize that Labour Party, obedient. Labour Party have no senators, they have no reps, or possibly they have no assemblies as well. You currently have a state governor in Abia State, Alex Otti, right? You may wake up tomorrow morning because of all these Apapas and their crew, what they are doing, and they might tell you that, well, it's not that Otti didn't win, but what happened is that because of his nomination. The drama, when I told you about the avoidance, if you can, to avoid any chance of giving Nigeria judiciary a benefit of the doubt, the damages they are doing is even worse than that of INEC. And because they all work hand in hand, eventually, the establishment wins. That by crook or book. I don't believe in them because I have seen a lot happen through them that are pretty much like a product of a corruption, unexplainable judgment and all that, right? And that's exactly what is playing out as we speak. So the High Court, Lamidi, Apapa and his crew from the Blues surfaced after they told Peter Obi to withdraw his case against Kolu in court. Remember, it was offered. It was the first person to be offered the government of national unity. They asked him, would you like to just bring your men to join Tinubu and avoid all these court cases? After they told you to go to court, if you are not happy with the result of the election. So they turned into withdraw your case in court. We don't need to be in court. Don't cause problem in Nigeria. Okay? Don't do what they did to MK or Abiola, blah, 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 nonsense. Well, all of that didn't work. Apampas surfaced. Lamidi Apampas took Abure's exco to court. Okay? He took them to court in the sense that he said, Abure forged the signatures of other exco members when he was admitting Peter Obi and the other obedient into Labour Party. That not all of them signed the waiver. So he accused Abure of forgery, which according to him, his own group, 5 of them, they have suspended Abure. He should no longer parade himself as a chairman. That was the genesis from the Blues. So they went to a court and they asked the court, and I court that they should give them a sort of a court order. You know what I mean? A sort of a court interim order that will stop Abure from parading himself as a chairman of Labour Party based on allegation of forgery. The court granted that, and the media flexed on that. A day or two after the court said Abure should not parade himself as chairman of Labour Party, Apapa took over the media. He started dishing out different orders that are pretty much in tune, like a script written for him. Number one, he said every one of Labour Party's candidates in the tribunal fighting for their elections, he wanted all of them to report back to him and come and brief him and their lawyers. He also ordered Peter Obi and his own lawyers to see him before they continue the court case, because he is the chairman in position to give the go-ahead of such. Why? Well, the drama continues. After about 31 days, sometimes in May, Apampas was finally told that, they went to appeal court. That's actually the story. They went to appeal court. That's Abure. Then the court finally said, okay, yeah, the status quo can now be maintained until determination of the case. This was in May. Right. Because the lawyers who were at the tribunal fighting all Labour Party cases did not report back to Apampas, he went to court himself. He wanted to sit where the party chairman sits. He wanted his crew to sit where the litigants were sitting, which is Peter Obi and others. And the drama didn't go down well with a lot of obedience who have been following the development. Like, who is this person? Why is he doing all of this? Suddenly, this group of charlatans, they have senior advocate of nuisance and nonsense as their lawyers. They have the media, the top prime time on different platforms in Nigeria to speak more on it, right? And then the APC, Egbekegbe, personally, unsurprisingly, they supported the Pampas. And we're like, what's going on? So it was obvious. So people were kind of tensed. So the last time we saw a Pampas, when people felt like, is this you this old man? This is what happened. And that was in May 2023. Remember, they were still in court. The court already told him, right, he had no legal standing to even claim to be the chairman of Labour Party. But because the court said status quo should remain until determination of the case, he went to court to cause that, that pandemonium and all that. Then after that, he went back to that same tribunal once, sat somewhere quietly, and then disappeared. Surprisingly, a month after that, or 2 months after that, sometimes in July, the court now ruled that Abure, this time around, an appeal court, okay? What am I even saying? It's actually this particular month, August. So the court now ruled that Abure is their authentic chairman, appeal court. 10 days after that, another appeal court in Imo State, Owerri, delivered another judgment. I mean, they were supposed to go to Supreme Court, I think, after appeal court. You don't go to appeal court after appeal court, Abi. but it is APC, Egbekebe. The purpose is not to do anything legally. It is to do everything illegally, right? And force you to go and look for legal ways of fixing it, and you may never find it. Okay? So, breaking news. Appeal court in Imo Owerri ruled that Lamidi Apapa and Abure Labour Party case status quo must be maintained. What does that even mean? Judiciary, Nigeria judiciary. They know what they are doing. You can buy judgment from anywhere. It depends on which judgment are you looking for. In this instance, right? Jankara court, Jankara judgment, Jankara judges. There are so many in Nigeria. In fact, these 5 justices that are currently sitting on the presidential election tribunal, they all have the baggages of corruption, Jankara judgments. So I don't know where that is coming from. For those of you who kind of believe that they will do the right thing. No, they won't. They're going to get you more upset. And that is why they are kind of releasing other religious bodies, other statements to begin to tell you to calm down. It is the establishment, ladies and gentlemen. So, as you would have it, again, Lamidi Apapa's first statement after the Owerri Jankara judgment was to send a warning to Peter Obi. According to him, Peter Obi doesn't recognize him or respect him. The way Peter Obi treats him, it treats him like he's a nothing. And it doesn't feel cool about that. And now that another Jankara court in Owerri, I've said that status quo should remain, whatever that even means. Just like he did way back in April, Lamidi Apapa has issued a very, very strong stand warning to Peter Obi that if he sees him with Abure again, Peter Obi will be suspended and dismissed. And let me give you this background story, a quick one. When the drama for Lamidi Apapa was to start, I sat here on this same seat and I kind of played out the scenario, how it was going to go, and exactly how it was described that it played out. I remember telling you that the first attempt will be, 1, to suspend all of the Labour Party's excos. They will dismiss all of them. That will be the beginning. The second phase will be to suspend Obi himself and withdraw his case from court. But it can't be like, say, the Peter Obi that some of you said you know, also knows this guy, because along the line, the intention was remove Abure by all means, remove his ESCO by all means as well, then go for the broke. As the party chairman, if the party writes the tribunal and say they are no longer interested in any case, in what this Apapa did in Rivers State, by the way, he did it. He wrote the tribunal in Rivers State to tell them that the lawyers representing Labour Party governorship candidate there did not come from Labour Party. Therefore, Labour Party want to withdraw the service of the lawyer, withdraw the case. They wrote to a few other tribunals like that. This Apapa. But one thing that kind of seems to have shocked or sort of surprised all of them is that in 2003, 2004, when Peter Obi was the lone APGA governorship candidate in Anambra State, Anambra was very much popular for the thuggery, the godfatherism that pervaded their politics at the time. It was like the godfathers were even more powerful, popular than the sitting governors in Anambra State. So he came from from the blues. Then he got rigged out just like this. He went to court. When he was in court, I'm just trying to give you the context of somebody with such experience, ended up having to make it difficult for the guys who cooked this Apampa's package, kind of, right? While he was in court for about 2-3 years. While he was in court, his own political party that sponsored him rejected him. Why? Because they wanted to take appointment from the PDP government of Anambra State, led by Chris Ngige at the time. Meanwhile, Ngige was just like a small dog. I'm talking about Okija Shatabandu. Now, he had this leech on his neck, held by the Uba brothers. Everybody knows about that. Everybody knew then. But it was come and shop by chop, kind of a thing. So they told him to withdraw his court case against the godfathers were saying they should tell him how much he wants. They will pay him. He should withdraw his court case. His own political party, APGA, at the time, very new, their own executive started pressuring this same guy, Obi. At a point, a section or a faction of them actually came out to suspend Obi and said he's not a member of APGA anymore because of the appointment and whatever they wanted from PDP then. It didn't last. About 3 years into the whole drama, the court said Peter Obi was actually their governor elected. Now the drama changed. Obi had no assembly, he had no anything, local government, whatever, he had nothing. So when he came in, after 3 months or 4 months, they started the impeachment process against him. Just like people predicted, they will impeach him. The godfathers will remove him, except he quickly joined the PDP at the time. Indeed, they removed him. Do you know why they removed him? They removed him because before he came, there was already an approved budget, okay, for a new governor's house, government secretariat, and all those things. And in his own usual way, on record though, he cut down whatever they put together as budget by over 60%, and that infuriated them. Who the hell do you think you are? So they started the impeachment process against him. So they removed him. When they removed him, then his deputy was substantially like sworn in as the first female governor in Nigeria, Veji Etiaba. So quickly, Etiaba, to avoid defeat or what befell Peter Obi, she decided to slow down, allow them to have whatever they wanted, approve whatever they wanted for them, to the point that she was already being touted to be the candidate of APGA in 2007 election. In fact, I think she actually stood for the election, right? While they were still kind of that, Uba brothers, they no longer wanted to be godfathers. They decided to take the reign themselves. Chris and Andy. So Andy became the governor-elect, while Obi was still challenging his own removal as governor. So what happened? Andy Uba got removed. Obi got in. And the godfatherism in Anambra State died a natural death. Even Obaino and his wife, who tried to bring that back, didn't succeed. So people are now saying that if the likes of Apampas and their crew didn't do their homework well about this guy, then those who invested on them, or those who put them together, like APC, Egbekegbe, that is kind of obviously backing him, they did not do their homework well. I mean, when for those who wanted to kind of be honest when they say it, Okay. But however, me, somebody like myself, who is kind of call me pessimist, somebody who is always not going to believe, even if they eat their head 10 times on the ground to show that, they are what they say they are. I'm talking about the judiciary. I will never believe them. But it's just going to be like, I haven't been in that shoes. It's just going to be like 2003, all again for somebody like Peter Obi, when everybody felt like this is actually impossible. The judiciary is so corrupt that forget it, and blah, 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 blah at the time. So for somebody like him, it's just going to be like, well, nobody believed that they could be having different governorship elections in Nigeria, not like having it like generally like everyone else. The guy who started it believed that it can also alter the presidential election calendar. And those who told him that it's impossible back then, right, they all lived and witnessed him spend 8 years as governor of Anambra State. I mean, just track record to Shebao. So yeah, it won't be new if you read it in your newspaper tomorrow that Apampas have suspended this. Or, I mean, it is too late now to withdraw the case. Isn't it too late to withdraw Obi's case now? The judiciary will just have to do what they have to do. Front or back, it doesn't matter anymore. So whatever Apampas now came back and said, now that this Labour Party started going about to tell people that, wait, we are waiting on the tribunal, okay? But before the tribunal make their decision, you also need to continue to keep the momentum and remove these criminals from your own different state. That's their campaign. In Imo State, it seems that they are already making big wave and they are becoming a big threat to Uzodingba. You get that? In those states, they are pushing enough that, well, it's more or less like Edo is their headquarters anyway. So it will take a lot of a rigging machine, right, to actually sort of rig them in Edo. And the same thing is also almost everywhere. Now, Apampas has come out and said, listen, it is only the governorship candidates that I approve that will contest elections. So which means in the coming days and all the dramas that will follow, Apampas is back. And their intention is not to, is in no way to help your democracy. It's actually to further destroy it. Which, well, you finally destroy everything and everybody comes to their senses that this fraudulent democracy is not yours. It is, what do we call it again? Not just kakitocracy. There is another name for it. Kleptocracy, where criminals, or criminaltocracy, where the criminals are now in charge. This morning, somebody sent me a message and he said, Mayegun, why is Tinubu keeping this guy? Like normally, if somebody is arrested, you should be able to say, this is why we have arrested him. I said, well, they kept him away so that they could finish or finalize the installation of criminals into every other institutions that are still kind of yet to receive the renewed renewed fraud that they brought upon you. I'll come back to that guy because he is also a criminal, by the way. But I wish they could say that and say, yeah, we are keeping him because he's a criminal. Fortunately, he's been kept away right now, yeah. And Tinubu and his gang, they are already flexing the power of, the power of the state capture, put it that way. Do you know what happened in Kano? Remember Gandola? Abi? Yes, Babariga Mobile Banking CEO of Kano, Gandola. Yeah? He is being investigated by anti-corruption agency that is set up in Kano. Of course, Kano has an anti-corruption agency. Now, the anti-corruption agency is now investigating that video. He was invited for questioning. And since Kolu has made him the chairman of APC, Egbekegbe, right now, the chairman of the anti-corruption agency in Kano has been invited by the EFCC in Abuja, Okay. The investigation of Gandola, the former governor, has now led to the investigation of the investigator. Do you understand? So EFCC under Kolu has now invited the chairman of anti-corruption agency in Kano to come and give account of all of the money paid to the agency since 2016, including all of the procurement receipts and the bank accounts of all their contractors since 2016. They want him to come to Abuja. They also want him to send the secretary of the agency. They want him to send the accountant of the agency. They want them to send the auditor of the agency and the chairman of the agency. They want all of them to resume in Abuja on the 28th of August because they were investigating Gandola. Play that song again. Again, one guy will sing this song, right?
Man, see there for jail. Politician wey in the probe don enter for power. EFCC chairman still there for jail. Politician wey in the probe don enter for power. Ewo, EFCC chairman still there for jail. Politician wey in the probe don enter for power. Ewo, EFCC chairman still there for jail. Politician wey in the probe don enter for power. If you dey do government work, you no carry am for head, you. Maka one day I got bokwa gike na ma oru. In another government, you. Iri wayo nwanne mo ebukwa ya n'ichi. One day I got bokwa na ma ewo. EFCC chairman no dey for jail.
Politician wey the probe don enter for power. Responding to responding to Lamidi Apampa's antics, a group of the secretary of Labour Party had this to say to the media in their own words. Ladies and gentlemen.
Alhaji Umar Farouk Ibrahim, today, Friday, 25th of August 2023. Gentlemen of the press, this conference is called purposely to clear the air on yet another attempt by some of our former members who have rebelled against the party and who have gone ahead to shamelessly misinform members of the public on the huge progress being made to position Labour Party as one of the biggest political parties in Nigeria. As you already know, the party surprised many Nigerians with the huge success it achieved during the last general election. The party became a household name, all to the envy of the older political parties. You also know how the ruling party forced itself into power at the expense of the Labour Party and the general public who have voted our candidate massively. We are still in the tribunal challenging both the process and the outcome of the presidential election. In order to ensure a subjugation of the Labour Party, the ruling party has deployed all manner of strategies to stifle the party, part of which was to sponsor insurrection among some suspended former national officers, which is led by Lamidi Apapa and few others. Their assignment was to ensure that no progress is achieved in the party. The heavily funded dissidents have tried to mislead the court and some section of the media to harass the party leadership, but all have failed. Only recently, the Court of Appeal sitting in Benin City affirmed Barrister Julius Abure as the substantive national chairman of the Labour Party. Yesterday, the Court of Appeal, Owerri, which sat in Abuja, while giving judgment in the case brought before it by one Basil Maduka, one of the two aspirants that were deceived by the Apapa camp to participate in their illegal primaries, also ordered that the status quo remain with Senator Atan Ochunu as the validly nominated candidate of Labour Party for the 2023 Imo governorship election. It also noted that Basil Maduka has no locus to seek redress in the court as he is not known by the party. For emphasis, you may recall that Apapa Group had hoodwinked and arranged governorship primaries for two members of the Labour Party, namely Chief Okaigbo Ikechukwu and Samaduka, after which Okaigbo won the contest. Maduka was picked by the outcome of the fake primaries and had gone ahead to challenge the emergence of Okaigbo. He sued both Okaigbo and the Lamidi Apapa. Meanwhile, the Labour Party appealed the Bayelsa court, ruling on the ground that it lacks the jurisdiction to entertain a suit filed by the Apapa camp without putting the leadership of the party, which is known to law, into notice. Senator Achunu, who was also not a party to the suit filed by Samaduka, but on hearing about the matter before the Federal High Court, sought to be joined as an interested party. However, the Court of Appeal re-emphasized the implication of lack of jurisdiction in motion for leave to appeal as an interested party and held that the motion was filed out of time, hence it lacks jurisdiction. It is a tried principle of law as held by the Supreme Court of Nigeria in plethora of cases that where a court lacks jurisdiction to entertain a matter, it has only one duty, which is to strike out and or dismiss the case. Any other thing said or done by it, no matter how beautifully conducted, is null and void ab initio, as you cannot put something on nothing and expect it to stand. This was restated by the court.
Anon. Because we still have a lot to talk about, by the way. But that was them saying because of the abracadabra primary elections in Imo State, they decided to get a Bayelsa court to give a judgment that said status quo. The status quo they are talking there is you took people to court and they were not notified, right? They were not notified that they were in court, and you gave that's what they do. That's what they normally do. Interim order, so that they can hold you back for just a few months. All right. And if you are not smart enough, it can last for like a year. So then they would have done whatever they want to do. By the time you finally get it lifted, the deed is done. It is a political gimmick that the criminal politicians and the criminal judiciary in Nigeria, Jankara judges, are always very much handy. How does that help your democracy, by the way? I'll do a quick detour. Olórí ibu ni wọ́n.
Olórí burúkú ni wọ́n aládẹ̀wò. Ẹ kórí burúkú ẹ bá Nàìjíríà jẹ. Ráìsì wọn, ráìsì di 1-3, foreign rice tá a tún wá ń jẹ yìí. Kò sí òun rẹ̀ ń jẹun, òun dájú táwọn ń jẹ lọ. Kò ní jẹ yan, ó pa ni. Ó dàbẹ̀ kórí.
Wọ́n sọ tó gé kí ló tọ́lẹ̀ kan.
Sọ̀rọ̀ sókè wẹ̀rẹ̀. Olórí burúkú ni wọ́n aládẹ̀wò. Ẹ kórí burúkú ẹ bá Nàìjíríà jẹ. Ráìsì wọn, ráìsì di 1-3, foreign rice tá a tún wá ń jẹ yìí. Kò sí òun rẹ̀ ń jẹun, òun dájú táwọn ń jẹ lọ. Kò ní jẹ yan, ó pa ni. Ó dàbẹ̀ kórí.
Wọ́n sọ tó gé kí ló tọ́lẹ̀.
But that is actually not where I wanted to stop. I'm going to take you up here. Did you know that it's been over 8 days now that terrorists, yes, up north, kidnapped 8 NYSC core members. It's nearly 10 days now. And it seems that a lot of you probably either didn't know, or like many other horrible stories coming out of Nigeria, you are just kind of not miffed. Anyway, these students, two of them that we've managed to kind of pick up their names. The first one is a Yoruba girl. And the other one is, I would believe, a Niger Delta girl called Glory Tukudo Thomas, right? They are among the kidnapped victims, or let me say the COP members. The NYSC in Nigeria probably don't know about this, or they just don't care because it won't be the first time and it won't be the last time too. So the kidnappers were demanding different ransom from the families of these Nigerians who are currently languishing in the hands of the terrorists up north. I'll come back and tell you more on that at a later time in this broadcast. Ladies and gentlemen, even though the news from America is that the Chicago State University would only release details of Tinubu as demanded by Atiku if the court says they should, because of confidentiality law or the secrecy or privacy law, kind of rule of theirs, which does not allow them to just release the details of their alumni, except if the court says so. However, from the few that has been kind of made public so far, it is now obvious that Tinubu's Chicago State University certificate that he submitted to INEC in Nigeria was forged. And the forgery and those involved, right? Even with those who are currently part of, who are named in this investigation, some of them have been popping up. Those who signed the fake certificates, the one that Kolu couldn't match together with either his date of birth, and whether he was born in 1952 or he was born in 1954, whether he was a girl or it was a boy. He's kind of a boy that got his data mixed up. All of these excuses are now coming to light to say, number one, take a look at this. Just 1 second though. So from what we heard, right, the person who signed the Tinubu's certificate, and for the record, by the way, for the record, in 1999, when Tinubu's forged certificate was an issue in court, Tinubu wrote at the time and said it was Tokunbo Afikuyomi. You remember Tokunbo Afikuyomi, who later became a senator? Right. So Tinubu said Tokunbo Afikuyomi was the one who filled his governorship, sort of a governorship candidacy form or something like that, right? That he didn't fill it. It was Tokunbo Afikuyomi who filled the form for him. And it was Tokunbo Afikuyomi who made mistakes with the schools he went, primary schools or secondary or university, and the dates. That was his excuse around that time, until he managed to use immunity of governor. You cannot sue him and he cannot sue you, right? To get out of the hook with Gani Fawehinmi at the time. But today, Tinubu is no longer blaming Tokunbo Afikuyomi. Tinubu is blaming the clerk of the Chicago State University for mixing up his education documents. However, when did things started changing? What Atiku wanted to unravel in America is that this Tinubu, okay, is not the same Tinubu that went to Chicago University. Not just that, he is a complete, sort of a complete farce, false, fraud. Somebody that should actually be arrested and jailed for what he's done. But Tinubu is also telling them in America that don't mind him, he's just fishing. It's absolute nothing. It has whatever he's looking for has nothing to do with the tribunal case in Nigeria. Nobody is even taking any evidence anymore. So Atiku is just fishing, chasing shadow, and then just for cloud chasing. So Tinubu told the court not to let Chicago State University release those documents. Meanwhile, Atiku just wanted to know what documents, what qualifications, what kind of other things did the female bat or the male bat submitted in gaining admission into this school. There must be some documents he submitted. That's all he wanted to see, not whether he graduated there or not. That one is kind of, argumentative. But let's check. Is this person the same person who actually came to your school and finding that he wanted to be a student here and then graduated? Could you show us the document of his student application? That's what they wanted to bring out, because it's obvious that except if it is actually a typo, clerical error, the Bola A. Tinubu that went to Chicago State University was a female, a girl. And it is not a random name, by the way. The Tinubu name you are hearing, there is an uncle to Tinubu's adopted mother, Gafaru Tinubu. Gafaru Tinubu, now let me explain that to you. Gafaru Tinubu, a former police officer, right, happened to be this, the senior brother to Abibatu Mogaji. Abibatu Mogaji happened to be a local women leader, politician from Lagos State, who adopted Tinubu as a son. And by then, his name was Amodashon Golere and the rest of that, okay? So when he got adopted, it was put under the care, kind of like the guardianship of that Gafaru Tinubu. So when they changed his name, they just gave him, I believe, that was when they named him Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But unfortunately, that same Baba Gafaru Tinubu also had a daughter, a girl, named Bola A. Tinubu. Now, Bola A. Tinubu, a 24-year-old girl who went to the United States of America for university education, on record, suddenly disappeared from all record. Yes, her record was completely like non-existent. Immediately, there is a Bola Ahmed Tinubu who just miraculously appeared at the Chicago O'Hare Airport in 1975, 1976 with a one-way ticket from Nigeria. That was the moment the history of Tinubu started having record. That was the moment the life of Tinubu that you are seeing today started having real record, that you can actually attach to a paper and say, okay, Bola Tinubu, you are Bola Tinubu. Okay, yeah, I'm Bola Tinubu. So what they are trying to figure out now is that, is it true that every application that actually got Bola A. Tinubu into Chicago State University back then, was that of a girl? Or was it of this Bola Tinubu? So the story long, but according to Tinubu, whatever una like, me una talk. Even if you like talk, say I be what do you call it? She man, I be she woman, whatever you want. It doesn't matter anymore. I am the president of Nigeria. So you cannot do whatever, anything is not going to change that. So he went to the US and tell them, don't release my document. Don't. Because it's useless. It's not useful to them anyway. It's just that they just want to use it to embarrass me. Some people are now saying, why would you not want your... So when they were digging, this is the certificate that Tinubu submitted to INEC. Look at it very well. It is fake. Okay? But look at the signature on it. They figure out who are those who signed the documents. They said, 1. Meanwhile, okay, if I show you fake, I have to show you original, B. Now, this is original. If you graduated from the Chicago State University, this is what will be issued to you. Okay? So, now, when they contacted the Chicago State University of whether Tinubu graduated there, this is what they sent to them. That, of course, he graduated now. So if he graduated and his name was on the Bachelor of Science, whatever, right? Why did he have to forge a signature? I mean, so why did he have to forge a certificate to give the one he gave to INEC? This one on your screen is the one Tinubu submitted to INEC in Nigeria. It is fake, right? But the original sent by the Chicago State University showed that Bola A. Tinubu graduated in their university. This is the original. So if you are the original, why did you submit fake? So these are the two women that have been figured to have signed the Tinubu certificates, the fake certificates. The first one that Tinubu used in 1999 was signed by this woman. The second one Tinubu used in 2023 was signed by this woman. And this is now kind of becoming more embarrassing, like kind of. But that's just what it is, yeah? So we are going to wait till September before we know who is Bola A. Tinubu and who is Tinubu. And then we can quickly put it in the book of history and say, wow, this is the true story of this drug lord. Oh. Anything they wrote about him that they are trying to paint him white or is a pure criminal. Children, this is the real book you will buy. We will write books that will put all these facts in them and we'll spread them, we'll give them to children. History that they must know before you paint them with your No, we won't let you do that. Now, going forward, guys, you have seen all of their ministers, and somebody did this to show that, well, out of 45 ministers of Tinubu, their age, their whatever, and all that, somebody did that, and where they came from, okay? But I am going to leave that to go to this. See this lady, her name is Musawa. Apapa na Babalawo Afa. You know those all these Afas that they will say, Alemula, Mula, something, you know, when they are like all these old men, old Afas, kind of, but political Afas in northern Nigeria. Musawa, very influential. And when I say influential among politicians, when they go to northern Nigeria, they have to see him. Is an old senile man, like old. We be saying, you know, like kind of old, like about 90 or 100, kind of. But he's very influential. His daughter, Musawa, I don't remember the second name. Here you get. She happened to be a member of APC, Egbekegbe, and rightly so. When Tinubu, you know, Tinubu is kind of rewarding everybody that he believes that, you know, played one role or the other and all that. So she got one, but unfortunately, she's still serving. And according to Nigeria law, okay, if you are, you must serve Nigeria as NYSC if you want to be a politician in Nigeria, except if you receive a waiver. Here you get, if you want to be a politician in Nigeria, you must serve in NYSC, or, you know, there are waivers. So if you are 30 plus, I think, and then you graduate, you won't need to serve, except if you want to, all right, voluntarily. You don't have to. And then if you have medical problems and all that, you don't have to, okay? Even though as the insecurity in Nigeria has deteriorated even more, when you know, these graduating or youth corpus, they are called, going on to serve across Nigeria and all that. Because of this increased insecurity in Nigeria, a lot of people have been calling for the scrapping of the whole exercise. Like, just scrap it. You see? You know what I mean? Like, it has kind of lost its relevance. It has lost its value. Children can, so the graduates can no longer be protected. So, scrap it. But the rich don't have to serve, by the way. Okay? Unfortunately, those who kind of still take up the call, they say call up letter to where? To go and serve in Sokoto, to go and serve in Zamfara, to go and serve where? Serve Nigeria. To serve Nigeria is not by force. You will know it later. You will know it later. So you see that Musawa, she got appointed as a minister, and they did all the background check. You believe, Abi? They did all the background check, did all of this and all of that. Then they cleared her. She is under 50. She could get a waiver. Do you understand? She could just say, listen, I am 45 years old or I'm 47 years old. I can no longer serve. You don't have to forge it. So you know what she did? She forged the certificate to show that she's already served as part of her credential. Excuse me. Even though she is listed as one of the youth corpers that are serving right now. So she broke the law. She won't be the first. And that became the talk of the town. I said, well, what do you want to do? Welcome to the lawless Nigeria. You're going to see crimes that at the end of the day, you are going to be like, that one no be big crime. That one is not big. This one, well, let's leave that one. You are going to get used to the criminality that are now going to become legalized before all of you. It's always been like that. It's just never this bad. Abi, it's going to get worse. So for those who have been kind of worried, waiting be this, waiting, you know what I mean? It is happening. The NYSC came out today to say, listen, she is still serving a COP member. So what happened next? Remove her. No, you can't remove her. She's the daughter of Babalawo Afa. Not those Afa. We say, oh, this one Afa, no, this Afa also. That Baba, if that Baba pray for you, if that Baba say you go be president, you'll be president. You know, those kind of Baba, we say they will say he has friends, he has presidents, generals, as you know, that thing, Nigerian thing, right? That's why she's the minister today, not because of any other thing. All right? And she's a culture minister who has no culture of being honest. So I don't know what you make of that. Okay? So if you ask me why I don't trust the system, I say, listen, look at those who are in charge of the system. How could you trust those who are so dishonest? Right? Those who are so dishonest with little things. Right? That you can say, why do you have to lie about that? Why did you have to lie about this? Why did you have to, you know what I mean? You don't have to, you can't trust people like that. But if you do, it's going to be at your own peril. That's what they say. Abi? Now, going forward a little bit further, I stumbled on a video and it breaks my heart a little bit. Not because it is new, but simply because the ruin, the underdevelopment of Nigeria caused by these glutinous kleptocrats is more pronounced now. And no matter what they say to you, Nigeria is not progressing. I'm saying this because, how could you, in this 2021, have this kind? I'll show you something though. This time is somewhere around there though, and they call it Federal Road. I'll show you first before I continue on it. Yeah.
Stated otherwise, that the...
I think that's the other one.
I warned May Day this year that
this road is too bad for a long time.
Dejected and stressed can best describe how these commuters feel after being stuck for several hours on the Benin-Ekuma Auchi-Okene Express Road. A journey of few hours now stretches for days even, as vehicles are trapped in gridlock occasioned by the several field portions on the federal highway which links Edo to the northern part of Nigeria. It will gladden their hearts if the relevant authorities, in this case the Nigerian government, addresses the problem, which is also wreaking havoc on their vehicles.
My engine burned up for insight.
Residents of Ekuma and Eastern West local government area dread the rainy season as it aggravates the bad situation they have found themselves. The deplorable condition of the axis has drastically affected their businesses and means of livelihood.
Look at my little soda.